Welcome to Pink Kink,
where we are ready to guide you through the wild and wonderful world of kink.
I'm Princess Rara.
And I'm Dara, the Electro Khaleesi.
Whether you are a baby kinkster, a seasoned pro, or just here for the entertainment, Pink Kink will help you level up your kink knowledge.
Join us as we share our own wild, sometimes awkward, but always entertaining experiences and spill the tea from our combined 30 plus years in the private and professional kink worlds.
So grab your favorite flogger or wand.
Thank you.
And buckle up. You'll learn, you'll laugh, and who knows, you might just spit out your coffee.
Let's get this kinky party started.
Want more Pink Kink in your life? Join our Patreon and get ready for a whole lot of kinky fun and exclusive perks.
As a patron, you'll unlock access to our private Discord server where you can connect with fellow kinksters and chat directly with us. You'll also score adorable Pink Kink stickers and enjoy a monthly behind-the-scenes podcast packed with juicy tidbits we don't share anywhere else. Plus, get sweet discounts at our Etsy shop, Pink Kink Boutique, and on our online classes at Pink Kink Institute.
But wait, there's more.
More?
Our impactful and electrifying Pink Kinksters get extras, such as bonus content and free digital downloads. Oh, and let's not forget, the Pink Standard of patrons will be recognized as producers on both the podcast and on our website, because we couldn't do this without you.
Pink Kink runs on the love and support of our amazing patrons, so join the party today. Visit us at patreon.com/pinkkinkpodcast or click on the link on pinkkinkpodcast.com.
Today's episode is produced by our electrifying Pink Kinksters. Thank you, Jay, Witcherman, Brianna Lynn, Daddy J, Fabe, William P., Claire, Lady Blooding, Naughty and Nice, Butte Pain, Manda Panda, Kat, Stefan, Shadow Phoenix, Christopher, Brian, May Cry Devil, Ruby Riot, Enchanted Sparrow, The Wombat, Impact Hazard, Twitch, The Midnight Girl, Sinful, J21, Daisy If You Do, AK Harley Chick, Violet Rain, Serenity, Belle, Eric, Lady Affliction, Pumpkin Pie, Miss Tourmaline,
S'more, Hacksaw, Wee Mad Beastie, To Be Better For Me, 3 a.m. Thoughts, Crash Override, Iro, Kinky Bear, Sviper No Swiping, Barbie, Navigator Bard, Frost, Coffee and Chaos, Mr. Pillsbury, Peaches, Mighty Owl, Princess Sassy Pants, Lady and Lex, Chaos Monster, Jessa Lady, DJ Harlow, Ophelia, Drew, Daddy's Pumpkin, Birchbeard, Lady to Kitten, Mongoose, Sadia Lemon, Daddy Dom Gav, Dismal, and Noir.
Dara, this episode was really hard for me. And I had to do a hell of a lot of research because I don't really understand this episode. I don't know. I'm trying not to judge because, right? We listen and we don't judge. Your kink is not my kink, and that's okay.
Okay.
So I don't want to come across judgy in this.
But you will. It'll be fine.
And I just thought it was an important enough subject that I'm like making myself cover it. But I don't understand it. I don't get it. Why? Like, why?
Why?
Why? Like,
Well,
why?
I can't help you with that. Well, yeah, no, I could, but you're still not going to understand it. It doesn't matter how much I explain it to you. You're still not going to get it.
So I feel like I need to start off the episode with like an apology for if I come across like flippant or judgmental. I'm going to apologize in advance. It's just some things are just, I don't know, they're beyond me. And this is definitely one of them. So, but I think it's a very serious subject. And so I want to give it the respect it deserves. And I will figure
lying
out how to do this.
You are lying. You are lying through your teeth. You guys can't see her right now, but the grin on her face, she's lying and she can't hold it in.
So, basically in this episode, we're going to,
See?
we're going to be diving in what it means to be an introvert in the BDSM world.
Why the fuck Rah-Rah did the research on this one is beyond me.
Why it can be challenging and how to make your introverted nature work for you in kink spaces.
Oh, really? Rah is the one that researched this. I'm just going to sit here and go, okay, so what that means is.
So I texted Dar and I said, okay, so I want to do this episode, but I'm really going to need you to participate in it and help with this because I can't. I don't understand. Like, I went to the dungeon last night and came home, and it was 1:30 when I got home, and I was so fucking wired. I didn't go to bed till 3:30, even though I was tired, but I was wired.
Well, that had to be really uncomfortable.
It was.
I would have just dropped dead.
So yeah, I know a lot of introverts. Almost everybody in my life is an introvert except me. I do have a few ambiverts. And for those who might not have heard the term ambiverts, that means you're a little bit introvert, you're a little bit extrovert. You're both. I am all extrovert all the time.
Yeah, there's no saving you. I mean,
Right.
what?
No, there's no saving me on this. So in all seriousness, because every once in a while we need to be just a teeny bit serious, I am going to do my best to try to understand this and explain this. Dara is going to be here to be my translator, my introverted translator.
Oh, this is going to be a wild episode. Okay, hang on. Let me stretch, flex. Got a crick. Okay.
So one of the reasons I, the extrovert, wanted to cover this topic is, as I told somebody, I am a mostly straight person who's an extrovert with zero social anxiety. And I am the minority by far.
Yes, you are.
I serve as an emotional support extrovert for Dara and others. I had a lovely woman on my needle table yesterday talking about how she's an introvert and she's really making an effort to push herself to go out to events and meet people and talk to people. And like, if somebody else starts the conversation, then she can get going, but it's really hard for her to get the conversation started. And I looked at her and I said, yeah, and you remember how you and I first got talking? Because I pointed out your coat and said, oh my God, that is fucking awesome. I need that in pink. I was black, like leather looking with spikes all over it. It was gorgeous. And I'm like, I fucking need that in pink. And we got to this whole conversation about the coat. So as the extrovert, the emotional support extrovert, it was my job to get conversation going. But because we have so many people in this lifestyle who are introverted, but still very much want to be a part of this lifestyle, I thought we would try to tackle this subject and see if we can offer any help and guidance, even from an extrovert.
Oh, this is going to be a tough episode because you're going to be like listing all this stuff and I'm just going to be sitting here like, okay, yeah, yeah. And you're going to be like, what the fuck?
No, I'm going to need a little bit more than that from you. Gonna need tips and tricks because I can tell you what my research showed as tips and tricks.
You want the examples from me?
But maybe we'll have some of that too.
Oh God,
I have faith in your ability. Yeah, that's the only thing I don't necessarily have faith in.
I don't either right now.
Even without a cold.
It has not been the best brain week for me. All right, let's go.
All right, so let's understand what introversion really is, okay? And we're going to start off with the busting the fucking myth that introverts are shy.
Nope.
Introverts can be shy, but guess what? An extrovert can be shy too. Shyness and extroversion are completely separate things. Introverts can absolutely be incredibly outgoing, but they recharge by spending time alone or in much smaller groups.
Completely 100% accurate.
Right?
Yeah.
Versus as an extrovert, as I tell people, I'm a fucking energy vampire. We will be in a large crowd and it will be like Monsters, Inc. with the batteries as they laugh and the power goes up. As an extrovert, my yellow battery is going up and filling up the more that I'm with people, talking to them and interacting with them. While an introvert, it's the opposite. The more you're talking and interacting, the lower that battery's getting. And this can really be challenging when our lifestyle, our community revolves a lot around big events and constant social interaction. I
It
mean,
is all about peopling. Yeah.
how many times do we make a recommendation? Go to a munch,
Go to an event. Go to a class.
right? So it's peopling. And if peopling is something you don't do well per se, that can be really challenging. So I came up with a couple of myths when it comes to introverts and kink. And the first one is that myth number one is introverts don't really belong in the kink community.
Hell to the fuck no. Have you met me?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just going to be doing a lot of that.
That's
Sorry.
fine, right? Some of the most thoughtful, creative, and compassionate kinksters
Oh, thank you.
are introverts. Okay. Okay.
Hey, you
I
wanted
see-
participation. This is how you get it, all right?
I see this is how this is going to go.
Yeah.
Some of the best scenes that I've ever been privileged to watch are between introverts who tuned out the rest of the group. That's how they get through this. They tune out the rest of the group, and you could literally see the connection between them.
I was going to say, which scene was that?
Oh, lots of different scenes.
Huh.
Here's another one. Ready?
Yeah.
Okay, hold on, Dara. I feel like I'm going to say it and then and then take the earbuds off so I don't hurt my ears.
Should I warn the dogs?
You might want to. Okay, I'm warning the listeners. Her reaction may be loud. All right, ready?
All right, I'm showing you a picture of the dog right now so that you can watch. Okay.
Introverts can't be dominants.
Bull fucking shit.
Oh, damn, I put the earphones back on too soon. You were laughing. I thought I was safe, and I put them back on, and then you yelled.
Hey, at least the dogs didn't move.
It's fine. I don't need to hear.
Hey, after that one time that you pulled that scream on me, I think we're even now.
No, of course not. That's bullshit, right? Dominance isn't about who's the loudest, who's the most sociable. It's about confidence and connection with your partner, which absolutely introverts can excel at just as much as an extrovert can.
I'm sorry. I have brought this up so many goddamn times. You do not have to be loud. The best thing I ever did was when I had that one person who was absolutely fucking screaming on my table to the point where Cosmo came over and was like, "Are you killing them?" I'm like, "No, they're just loud. They're enjoying the shit out of it." And I looked at this person who was on my table, got right in their face, really close, looked them dead in the eye, and went, "Shh." And that was me exerting my uber dominance over this person. And they did. They shut the fuck up. And it was even better.
I usually just cross my arms and give them the look. Pretty much the same look I give my kids.
I was going to say the mom look.
The mom look. The one that says, "Serious? Are you serious here? Because you don't want to do this."
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right. Ready? Next myth. Introverts hate crowds, so they can't possibly enjoy play parties or group scenes.
Again, with the bullshit. No. I actually genuinely I enjoy the parties. I enjoy the crowds. Daddy J, on the other hand, is does not like crowds, does not like the huge amount of people. He's more comfortable if it's like a smaller group of people, and then he turns on the charm like it's water.
He does. He just drips charm then.
Yeah, but not if it's like a huge amount of people. Then he sort of retreats.
There's no reason an introvert cannot be part of a big party or even host group scenes. You just need to maybe plan accordingly. Maybe you need to plan for a break where you have time to regroup your energy.
Which is exactly what I do at Risque. I mean, I schedule a break in between so that I have a few minutes to just sit and chill and talk to people.
Right.
I don't leave my station.
Or for instance, you're usually done by what time?
I usually schedule my last one at 12:20, which means I'm done at 12:40, which gives me 20 minutes to pack and get out.
Right. While maybe an extrovert schedules them all the way to till 2 a.m.
Right.
All right, ready? Next myth. Introverts are antisocial and uninterested in community events.
Also very much not true.
Hence all the myths. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm just agreeing.
Right?
I thought you liked that.
I like when you agree with me by disagreeing with that.
What?
Yeah. Yeah, what I said.
Was that one of those things that sounded better in your head and then when it came out your mouth, you got confused?
Well, I got confused because I know it didn't sound right, but it is what I meant. I love when you say that See, I guess you're agreeing with me that the myth is wrong. So,
Yes.
hence it being a myth. But anyway, introverts can actually absolutely love connecting. They just tend to prefer deeper conversation over large amounts of small talk. And they may network in much more selective or meaningful ways. All right, another myth. Because they value solitude, introverts supposedly avoid dungeon or club play entirely.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
No.
An introvert can still enjoy the energy of a public scene, especially if they can control certain aspects, like either having a supportive friend nearby or choosing quieter time slots or being able to give themselves a break.
I mean, yeah, there's tons of different ways to do everything, including tons of different ways to introvert.
So let's highlight some of the strengths that introverts have. And again, these are not all introverts or introverts have, extroverts don't. But these tend to be strengths that introverts have. They have a great attention to detail. They carefully plan the scenes, ensuring all the tools and safety measures are ready before play. An introverted dominant might use their skills to create a very detailed script for a role play scene, including props, dialogue, and cues for their submissive. There's creativity in scenes. They excel at crafting imaginative and immersive experiences, such as maybe an elaborate sensory deprivation scene or psychological play. They're going to focus more on the scene itself than the surrounding areas. If that's, am I right on that?
Yeah. Definitely can be really imaginative. That part's true. I don't know, like, I personally don't do that, but I can see other people doing it potentially, yes.
Yeah. As I said, again, I may have to reiterate this several times. This is the research. I am by far not an introvert. I am the complete opposite. I am an extrovert.
Yeah, because I was going to say, you plan more attention to detail to your scenes than I do.
But that's the
But that
Virgo
has
in me.
nothing, I was going to say that has absolutely nothing to do with introvert or extrovert.
Yeah.
That's OCD tendencies, Virgo level bullshit with ADHD.
I don't have ADHD.
Right. No, me. That's what I'm talking about.
Oh, yeah.
Versus ADHD would be me.
Yeah. So this is, as I said, this was the research that I got, which research tends to always speak in generalities.
Yeah.
Which gets confusing sometimes when you're trying to do research, like what's valid. And normally I can read the research and go, based upon my experience, yes, or based upon my experience, no. I have zero experience. My only experience with introverts is as their emotional support extrovert.
Which you are almost every single week.
For almost every single friend.
Exactly.
There's a few. Cindy is another extrovert.
Cindy's a pretty good emotional support extrovert too.
Yeah. But I guess what I was thinking in this is because as an introvert, you're trying to think of ways to handle the crowds. And by creating maybe a more detailed, immersive experience, it enables you to focus on that versus the crowd.
Okay, so you know how for me, when I'm topping with electro, I sort of like zero in and hyper focus on the person who's on my table?
Yeah, much more than I do.
Oh, yeah. Well, sometimes I do crowd scenes and sometimes I do group scenes and I work, with the crowd and everything. But when it's just the one person on the table and I'm not trying to work the crowd, I completely block out every single thing around me to the point where like I have literally missed stuff happening right in front of me. Do you remember that time that I think it was Hot Asian Guy was in the cage and that was right in my field of vision and I didn't even notice? And nobody fucking told me either. I was kind of upset about that.
But I think that goes to the point that we talk about introverts being in these big, large social spaces, but making accommodations to be able to handle it. And I'm guessing the accommodation is by focusing so wholeheartedly on that one person in front of you and blocking out the external.
Mm-hmm.
That
makes perfect sense.
A way to accommodate and regroup. Because again, now instead of worrying about social energy, sucking up the social energy from the group, you are having just that deep connection with that one-on-one person. And that's how introverts recharge batteries more.
I'm not so sure it's a way to recharge a battery as a way to just pause it from
Or
declining
maybe drain
more.
it slower.
Yeah.
Slow the drain.
Slow the drain, because even interacting with that one person is sometimes going to drain you, but it's not as much as like a huge crowd of people would be.
Gotcha. All right, see? I'm learning. Our listeners are learning. Or maybe the listeners aren't learning because they're introverts and they're shaking their head going, yes, that's it. That's it. You got it. So maybe I'm learning and the rest of you are teaching me.
I bet you there's a lot more introverts that listen to the podcast than we realize.
No, I'm assuming there are. My personal experience is that as far as introverts versus extroverts, that something like 80% of the kinksters that I meet would identify as, if not introverts, ambiverts. That it is a very tiny number that actually, if you ask, will say, yes, I'm an extrovert.
Okay, so hold up, pause. Let's go back because I think we need to explain something a little bit. The introvert versus extrovert, it's about your social battery and how it recharges, like Rara said. So for example, Rara's social battery gets mega charged by people. It gets mega charged by how she interacts with the people. If it's just some people watching, even though it's a huge crowd, it's a party, it's a huge thing, just people watching her isn't going to really do it for her. She needs the interaction. She needs the laughter. She needs the cheers. She needs all of that.
This is where, like you, I need sound effects.
Right. But me, on the other hand, I got back from a week of vacation with just my family. And I said to everybody around me, I said, do not fucking talk to me. Do not text me. Do not call me. Do not do anything for the whole next week. I will not be available. I will be in bed with my dogs. Little did I know that that was prophetic because I got sick and I didn't really have a choice. But all I wanted, all I could think about was going home and falling over. And that was literally just being with my family.
Yeah.
I can't even handle that for that extended period of time, like a whole week straight. I was like, please get me the fuck home.
Well, I will say, though, even as an extrovert, I have to like the people.
I like them just fine.
A whole week with my family will drain me. And I'm not an introvert. But that's a whole other issue. I'm going to a family event in April for like 4 days, and I'm dreading it. And it's the peopling will be fine. I will have no problem peopling.
It's the family part.
It's a family part. Look, I joked, but in all seriousness, the pandemic and the isolation, I struggled. I really struggled. That was one of the worst times for me, not being able to people.
And actually, you know what? That even hit me. It was so much. It was almost too much because when I hermit, like I have this week, I went out to the grocery store for the first time in like 3 or 4 days. That was it. That was my extent of me leaving my house. I still feel like sometimes when I get like really, really down, I need the people. I need that recharge bit and it just gives me that boost. But if I do it for an extended period of time, then I feel like I'm going to die.
Yeah, I actually went through a depressive state during that time period. It was,
I think almost everybody
2020 was, well, meanwhile, my extremely introverted son was like, I've trained my whole life for this. I'm prepared. He was fine. No, I was
that
not.
Even hit me.
Yeah. So imagine what it was like for those of us who are extroverts.
No, I don't want to imagine that. That sounds horrifying. But like, I'm just saying it was that bad. It even hit me.
So extroverted dominance. Also, they value the quality time with their submissive, building trust and emotional intimacy that enhances their dynamic. So it's a very deep connection. And that doesn't mean, again, that extroverts don't have that too. I'm just saying this is something introverts do have. So this idea that introverts just want to be alone is not.
No, again, not necessarily, because like I said, I will go through periods where I need to just be alone. And and that's in reaction to too much peopling. So a week of all the peopling every single fucking day and not having a single break equals a week of me hiding and just being like, get the fuck out of my face. Nobody talk to me. Probably in the next couple of days, I'll be like, okay, I'm ready to people. And then, I just go through those cycles.
Well, because your battery got recharged, so you're ready to go back out.
Right.
And then once your battery runs out, you got to recharge again.
But there are certain times where I've spent too much time alone and my battery starts to skid the other way. It like hits a block and ricochets back in the other direction.
That makes sense. Yeah. I mean, we're people who need people, which makes us the luckiest people in the world.
I knew that was coming.
Yeah, I have
Hey,
to. It's a
will you
requirement.
Will you please explain ambivert?
Okay, so ambivert people identify as a little bit of each. They're neither just an introvert or just an extrovert.
So an extrovert. Oh, I always called myself an extroverted introvert.
That would be kind of an ambivert.
So what the fuck am I?
I'm going to not answer that.
I'm gonna just go with complicated.
Well, here we go. So ambiverts are flexible and can be comfortable in both solitude and company. So here's some signs you might be an ambivert. Ready?
Mm-hmm.
You need both alone time and human interaction to recharge.
Okay, so that's starting to sound a lot more me than just plain solid introvert.
Right. You can quickly recharge your social battery after a break.
No, takes me a few days, like several.
You enjoy intimate gatherings.
Yes.
You're up for a moment as long as you're feeling recharged.
Yes.
You might let texts and phone calls go unanswered when you're alone.
Okay. Yes.
So maybe you're an ambivert. There's
Yeah,
actually,
that's just weird.
so here we go. If you're not sure if you're an introvert or an extrovert or an ambivert, you can take an online personality test.
I like those.
So two of the ones Google recommends are the NEO personality inventory or the Big Five inventory.
Okay. Well, maybe I'll take those afterwards.
Yeah. So here's another one. 9 signs that you're an ambivert. Apparently you ambiverts have a distinct advantage over the rest of us because you can go either way.
I can swing both ways.
Yeah, there's lots. I mean, if you just Google ambivert. Oh, here we go. I can get lost in my own thoughts just as easily as I can lose myself in a conversation. I don't always need to be moving, but too much downtime leaves me feeling bored. If I spend too much time alone, I get bored, yet too much time around other people leaves me feeling drained.
Okay.
Small talk doesn't make me uncomfortable, but it does get boring.
Yes.
I can get lost in my own thoughts just as easily as I can lose myself in a conversation.
Well, yeah.
Being the center of attention is fun for me, but I don't like it to last.
Yes.
Social
That took me a second.
Social settings don't make me uncomfortable, but I tire of being around people too much.
Yeah. So like toward the end of the social gathering, I'm like, okay, everybody go away.
So congratulations. I think you're an ambivert.
No one's going to know what the fuck that is if I say that. I'm just going to stick
Really?
with
I think
extroverted
most
introvert.
people will. Ambiverts become a thing.
Really? I've never heard of the word before ever. And I'm a word person.
I can't speak for that. I've known of ambiverts forever.
Huh. All right, we'll go with that then.
We could call you maybe a bivert.
I'm just going to stick with the tried and true extroverted introvert.
There you go. All right, so let's get into the meat of this and talk about some of the challenges in kink spaces as an introvert and some tips and tricks for how to deal with it. And Dara can agree whether these tips, again, I did not come up with any of these because I am not an introvert. This is all based upon my research, so you can tell me if my research was right or wrong, and if you have any others you would like to add to it. The first one, attending munches and events. So the challenge is that large gatherings can be overwhelming due to loud environments, constant small talk, and fear of not knowing anyone. Introverts often feel pressured to network quickly or meet everyone at once. And again, we are guilty of it, of telling people, go to a munch. That's how you meet people. That's how you find out about the community and all of that. So those are the challenges. So some tips and tricks for this. First of all, arrive early. Get there before the crowd and it'll give you time to settle in, to pick the perfect comfortable spot, and maybe start to greet a few people as they come in rather than walking into a packed room of people.
Mm-hmm.
Set a manageable goal for yourself. Aim to talk to 1 or 2 new people rather than forcing yourself to circulate and talk to the entire room. And then, of course, the good old buddy system. If possible, attend with a friend or partner who can help buffer awkward moments and help make introductions for you.
That is always the best way to go. Find yourself a
what do we call them?
Emotional support extrovert.
Emotional support extrovert.
How are those tips? Do you think those would be helpful?
No, those are great.
Okay. Any others that maybe my research, I can't say I certainly wouldn't have thought of them, but my research might have thought of them.
My research thought of them. No, I actually think those are dead on. If there's any others, because like we have recently found out, I am not actually an introvert after all. So who the fuck knows?
Oh, I know. And I know another trick is select your munches accordingly. Like I tell people, so I have two different munches. One I host with Dara, one I host with my friend, Mistress Good Girl. The one I host with Mistress Good Girl is huge.
Massive.
We average over 80 people. I'm expecting this January one to be gargantuan unless we get snowed out or something. First one is always the biggest because everyone's got especially the introverts have a New Year's resolution of getting out. And then they get out and decide they don't like getting out. They want to stay in.
I was going to say, then they change their mind.
So the first one's usually the biggest. And I do warn people, especially if I know that they get overstimulated or are diehard introverts, that maybe this isn't the munch for them. While we get a much smaller crowd on our littles munch, maybe about, I think our biggest has been like 30.
Yeah.
Which
it's more intimate.
It's more manageable. It's more intimate. It's more manageable. But I also know people whose munches are maybe 15 people, right? Like if you really find it challenging, find a munch that's the size that it's comfortable for you, that is not overwhelming for you. And that might help you too. All right, the next challenge is handling overstimulation. Munches, dungeons, parties can really assault your senses with how much noise and visual stimulation and constant activity is happening.
It's a lot.
Introverts might become mentally or physically drained much faster because of it. So what are some tips? Well, identify quiet zones. Scout out the quieter corners or side rooms where you can take breaks. Some events are even starting to have designated areas that are your quiet areas that are meant specifically to help with overstimulation. I know the last couple of kink conventions I've been at have had what they call quiet rooms. Even Smut Lovers, bless her heart, Nikki Rome has done an amazing job trying to be as accessible for everybody as possible and has literally a room set up called the quiet room, where if you find yourself overstimulated and it's too much, and maybe you're not staying at the hotel and can just hang out in your hotel room, you can go into the quiet room and have a little peace and quiet and downtime to rebuild your energy levels.
Yeah, that's actually a really smart thing to do.
Another thing that's becoming very popular is a self-care toolkit. And either you can create your own, or I know the event Kink at Crucible actually has such a thing as part of their toolkit, where you bring items like noise-canceling headphones or earplugs, soothing essential oil rollers or fidget toys are also big. And again, Smut Lovers had this as well. Anything that can help you ground yourself. And then, of course, pace yourself. Instead of staying for a whole event, give yourself permission to leave when you start feeling drained. Or give yourself permission where you stay for an hour and then you disappear maybe to the quiet room or whatever for 15 minutes. And then you come back for an hour and back and forth in the ability to help you with that.
And that's actually exactly why I leave when I leave Crucible, because I've actually worked it out and timed it that with that break that I schedule for myself, then after that, I got to go. There's a reason I pack up and go at the time I do, because that is right about the time where I start to lose it.
There are certain earbuds, whatever. My daughter, if she ever actually listened, would kill me because I apparently never used the right terminology. I forgot the name of them because, again, not an introvert. But I know several people who have them, that you put them in and they help quiet the noise. So
Loops.
You still can hear. What are they called?
They're called loops.
Oh, loops. Thank you. So the loops don't block out sound. They're not noise canceling, but they are, they do quiet it and lower it.
So I think I might need to try that, because noise canceling earbuds make me nauseous. Like, I don't know what happens, but I always turn off the noise canceling capability on my earbuds because they make me so fucking sick. But yeah, Vixen has loops. She uses them all the time.
So loop earplugs, basically they help you focus. Some people use them for sleep. They're very, very good for people with ADHD because it helps with the overstimulation.
I think I need to get a set and see what happens.
Those are some things you can do to try to handle the overstimulation. Have I forgotten anything? Anything you want to add to that? Because again, this is just my research. I don't have to do this.
No, I've literally said, I've explained what I do personally. Is I like the breaks idea. I do schedule myself a break so that I can get like some breathing room. And I actually schedule my work around intervals. Last year, I did not have that option. And I had go, like for probably 5.5 hours straight. It was just peopling. And that was probably one of my worst years. Now I have a really good schedule where I can like hide. I've actually done that. I've literally crawled under my desk to get away from people and hide so they don't know I'm in my office.
So I feel this is a good time to also sort of bust a little bit of a myth on the extroverted side, just because people who identify as introverts may think that extroverts want to people all of the time. We don't. Even extroverts need a break and a downtime and a little quiet. But it just doesn't recharge our batteries to be quiet.
Well, you do that. You read all the time, and that's your quiet time.
That or, again, my car ride, though my car ride's all of 15 minutes to and from work. I've got, I live with my son, but but it's almost like living alone because we run completely separate lives. Sometimes I just need peace. And that's less about being an introvert versus extrovert and more about, as a mama bear, I'm always taking care of other people. So that time alone is my self-care to not worry about taking care of other people and helping to avoid burnout and not having anything to do with introverted.
Right.
My battery gets fully charged going out. I just need breaks so that I'm not always taking care of other people.
Sounds right.
Okay. Another challenge for introverts is navigating small talk and initiating conversation. Like I said, the woman that I talked to last night who was like, I can talk to you if I don't have to start the conversation going. I need somebody else to get it started.
Let's get it started.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, introverts can find small talk tiring or superficial, making it a little harder to strike up conversations or approach new people. So one of the tips with that is prepare ahead of time. Think of a few kink-related icebreakers or questions that you can use to have something to talk to somebody about. So you don't have to come up with it on the spot. You just have a couple in your toolbox. Things like, what drew you to this munch?
That actually is something I do personally. I always have a few questions that I'm like, so what are you into? What's your kink? What do you like? And that's actually how I start conversations with people.
You can ask somebody, what's your favorite type of scene to watch?
Or participate in.
Like I ask a lot when I'm demo topping, one of the questions I ask, so have you done other demos tonight? What have you done? And that just gets them talking. Look for cues like someone wearing a t-shirt that references a fandom or a favorite band. And then you could use that to get a conversation going. If you're at the dungeon, look at their toys. Ask a question about their toy and that gets the conversation going.
That works for almost every kinkster. If you compliment their kink or if you even ask a question about their obvious kink that they're like touting, that gets the conversation.
Well, that's one of the things I use when I'm hosting Risque. And part of my spiel that I go through is I say, we've got demo stations lined up throughout the dungeon so that you can try a variety of kinks. I said, or if you just want to ask them questions about what they're doing, there's nothing kinksters love doing more than talking about their kinks.
The only problem with that is when you're demoing, it's really, really hard to talk about the kinks.
Yeah.
At the same time.
Well, that's why I say just use your discretion and ask them when they're not busy. But yeah, so we love talking about it. Practice a short introduction, like a 1 or 2 sentence elevator pitch, so to speak, about who you are and your interest. So here's just 3 examples I came up with. Hey, I'm Alex. I'm a switch. So I love both topping and bottoming. And I'm really into rope and impact play because I love to create a fun, creative connection with my partner.
That sounds good.
Right? Or, hi, I'm Riley. I'm a gentle dom who focuses on mindful play. And I'm curious about everything from sensory deprivation to wax play. And I'm always open to learning something new. Or, hey, I'm Avery. Rope bondage is my passion. Whether I'm tying or being tied, I love the art and the intimacy of it. Trust, communication, and creativity are at the heart of every scene I do. And so
that's your own personal sales pitch.
Pretty much. It's a way to get talking to people, especially if it's somebody you're interested in. So any other tips that you have? You said you do the openers prepared and ready to go.
I do that mostly as a demo, but also when I'm at like one of your munches or something, I try to go around and sit down and just talk to people. And I don't do that with as many, like I'll do it with new people because that's my thing. I love the newbies. So I will literally sit down, introduce myself, and then be like, so what's one of your kinks? Why are you here? I know you're kinky because you are here. Or, this is your first time at this munch. Is this your first munch period or just this munch in particular? So it's just pre-prepped questions actually really help.
I will tell you the trick that I as an extrovert use, and it works every time. Compliment something about them. What they're wearing, the toy they have, maybe the scene they just did, their hairstyle. If you give them a compliment, you're already starting off on a positive note because you're saying something nice about them. And it gets the conversation going, like when I complimented the woman's coat and we just started talking. When I do the hosting, I compliment their outfits, tell them how good they look, whatever. And it just puts them in a good mood and makes them more open to talking to you because you come across as a warm, friendly person.
Yep.
All right, another challenge is the pressure to perform or even socialize constantly, right? There's this perceived expectation to be on all the time, be it chatty or flirtatious or ready to play. And introverts might feel guilty for maybe not always wanting to do that. So the way to deal with this is, first of all, set clear boundaries. Communicate honestly if you need downtime. Tell the person you're with, hey, look, I'm really enjoying this conversation, but I just need a moment to recharge my batteries. So I'm just going to go hang in the quiet room and recharge. And then I'd love to pick up where we left off. Make sure you're focusing on quality over quantity. So focus on a few meaningful conversations or interactions rather than trying to interact with everybody. Like we talked about in the munch portion, find 2 or 3 people to have good quality conversations with and not worry about that I spoke to 20 people that night. And keep a realistic schedule like Dara does, right? Choose either events with shorter durations or break up your attendance to avoid burnout, or make sure you've scheduled breaks and put that in there. Another challenge is meeting new play partners. It can be really difficult to approach potential play partners at events, and it can be intimidating. Maybe you're not sure how to start the conversation or read the interest signals. I ran into a woman last night who I distinctly remember her because who flirt with everybody, flirted with her. And because she's a lesbian, accidentally gave her the impression I might be interested in more.
You did that again?
No, it was the same person that I did with. I've learned my lesson. I'm trying to be so much more careful. Though there was somebody last night who I didn't think I was flirting, but they were flirting with me. So okay. I don't know.
So that I have always found is the number one problem with being extroverted. Back in the day when I was more extroverted, I would literally have a conversation with people and they would think I was flirting. Because you're spending so much time paying attention to them, they think you're interested. And it's not, you're being fucking friendly.
Well, I just flirt. I also flirt with everybody. I don't care what your gender is. If I like you as a human being, I will probably flirt with you. And that's more just because I know it makes people feel good about themselves. And I want people, it's the mama bear. I want everybody to feel good about themselves.
You hate me?
Excuse me. I've kissed your boob and left lipstick prints on it. Don't tell me I haven't flirted with you.
That was a scene.
So I can't flirt with you during a scene?
Yeah, but you don't flirt with me normally.
Do you want me
Hey,
to
you
start
accused
flirting
me-
with me?
No, that'd be fucking weird.
Okay, that's why I don't do it.
You're saying you flirt with everybody if you think they're a cool person, and you don't flirt with me. So it was
Because
a little bit,
you wouldn't give me consent for it.
yeah, I'll give you consent for everything else, though. So
Consent is a thing.
oh, hey, I don't know if you guys have noticed, you out there in podcast land, but you can hear me start to fucking lose it when we're recording. You can actually hear it when I start dying and need a break from recording. I go home from rah-rahs and I face plant because rah-rah is the equivalent of 20 people.
Last night, so I met somebody from online world, that this is the first time I met in person. And she walks up to me, and sure enough, after she's like, Rara? And I said, yes. And she tells me her name. And she looks at me, she goes, you're much smaller than I expected.
You are the equivalent of approximately 5'6" people.
I get this all the time. I'm like, I just have a very big personality packed into a little body. So 99.9% of the people who meet me for the first time after knowing me online always say something along the lines of, you're smaller than I realized.
This is why I keep saying she has Chihuahua energy, people. And I keep using the word Chihuahua instead of Pomeranian, like we have discussed.
I thought it was not Pomeranian. It's a
Pomsky.
Pomsky.
I understand that
because they're prettier.
Well, also because they have really good hair, but also the ski part is where the talking part comes in.
Yeah.
But when she's in dumb mode, she's a fucking Chihuahua.
Thank you.
It's just that constant, I'm going to wreck your goddamn life. She's a demon in this tiny little Chihuahua body, but with Pomsky hair. I don't know how to describe it.
So yeah, and the funny thing is I do tell everybody I'm short and they still say, I didn't realize how short. I'm like, I told you, but they still expect me bigger. I don't know why. They just do.
When we tell you she's tiny, we are not joking. And then me in my 5'8" in combat boots, I don't look like how I sound either. I guess people think that I'm supposed to be the short one, but I'm not. And here's where we put in the regularly established Dara is a pit bull. Looks vicious. Looks like she's going to rip her throat out. But
rub her belly and give her treats?
Yeah.
And she
just
fine.
Rolls over.
Well, I am going to chew your leg off. Just saying.
Maybe we should. No, wait, you're not the fox. That's Vixen.
What does the fox say? That's why I can't do I couldn't be a fox and do a podcast. Nobody knows what the fox says.
My dog is currently doing a really good impression.
Okay.
Of what the fox says. Can you hear that?
I actually just heard that one.
Yeah. Do you have an issue? You need a tissue for your issue? She's looking at me like, what the fuck? Why are you rhyming at me?
All right, let's finish this because I'm looking at the clock and I'm waiting for you to give me the finger. So I'm trying to hurry up and do this before you give me the finger.
Okay, well, you can look at the clock. I don't need to give you the finger. You'd give it to yourself.
But if I ignore the clock and don't
when
carry
you ignore the clock, then I'll give you the finger.
Right. I don't want the finger.
You don't want to be fingered?
I didn't say that.
Not by me.
I want all the fingers, not just one.
Cool.
Approaching potential play partners can be intimidating if you don't know how to start a conversation or read the interest signals. So some tips for that is try to pay attention to body language or group dynamics before actually joining in the conversation. Use those icebreakers that we talked about previously to ask about interests and express genuine curiosity about someone. Because again, kinksters love talking about their kinks. So that's a great way. And
even the introverted ones.
Yep. And use an introduction buddy. If you know someone who's friendly with the person you're interested in, have them be the conduit and be the introduction. How can you overcome social anxiety or fear of judgment? You might be worried about saying the wrong thing or appearing inexperienced. And that can amplify your introvert's natural caution in new environments. Well, for the tip on this, reframe your mindset. Remind yourself that every single person at BDSM events at one time was a newbie. and hopefully should remember and understand what it's like to be nervous. Now, I wish I could say that everybody would be that way, but look, shit human beings exist in the vanilla world and in the kink world, and that's what happens. Use some self-soothing techniques, deep breathing or grounding exercises if your anxiety is spiking. And seek some support groups. Some communities have specific events for newcomers or maybe some anxious kinksters, giving you an opportunity to hang out in a much more relaxed environment.
There should be an anxiety munch.
Everybody would be afraid to go.
Yeah, because they couldn't figure out if it would be causing anxiety or soothing anxiety.
Mm.
Well, I mean, that's one of the reasons we have activities at our Littles Munch.
Mm-hmm. That's true. All right. So here's another one. Feeling overshadowed by louder personalities. Don't know who that might be.
I'm not looking at anybody in particular
nope.
right now.
Sometimes more of us extroverted and outspoken individuals might dominate the conversation, causing introverts to fade into the background. And I will tell you,
who
as
could
an
we be talking
extrovert,
about? Because literally, we're having two different conversations right now.
as an extrovert, that's my challenge, is not to do that.
You suck at it.
Sometimes. It's a work in progress. It's a work in progress. Some tips for dealing with that: set a speaking goal. Decide beforehand that you're going to share at least one idea or ask one question. Seek smaller groups, maybe one-on-one or 2 or 3 people where the dynamic is more comfortable and less dominated by a single personality. Again, we've got the buddy system to help you. A challenge might be difficulty asserting boundaries on the spot. Sometimes introverts need a little more time to process situations. So pre-plan your no phrases. Have ready-made responses like, I need a moment to think about that, or let me get back to you, so that you can buy some more processing time. Set expectations early with your partners or the group members that you might need to pause to reflect on unexpected requests. Come up with a timeout signal, maybe some sort of nonverbal sign that means, hey, pause, I need a break. Or maybe it's to let your group that you're there with know, hey, I'm dipping out for a minute to find the quiet spot and regrouping.
You could literally have a separate phrase, and this is what I do. You have a whole separate phrase for I'm done the fuck peopling, let's go. It's not quite read for scenes, but it's like if you have a safe word for peopling, I've used it.
Mm-hmm. All right, so I found this actually great article about how you can negotiate with an introvert that I thought was very helpful, because I never really thought about the BDSM negotiation being different with an introvert than an extrovert. But again, because I'm not an introvert, why would I think about that? So some of what so I'm going to kind of go through this fast because I'm getting close to this finger stage.
Yeah, you are.
I know. So I know. So I'll just, when you're negotiating, avoid a busy environment. Make sure you are in a quiet place to talk and negotiate, whether you're together in a quiet place or you just call and do it by phone, so that there's less stimulation for the introvert to worry about being overwhelmed by. Don't send us straight into the fire. We'd love to meet your friends, just not necessarily at a BDSM play party on the first weekend. Be patient and confident with them. Let them know it's okay to express themselves and speak their mind. Keep things simple. If you behave like a total extrovert, you can overwhelm them. So don't. If verbal communication doesn't seem to be going smoothly, try written communication. Sometimes it might be easier for them if they don't have to people when they're communicating.
I know what you were trying to say, but they don't have to people when communicating is very strange sounding.
Well, hopefully y'all speak rara at this point and you know what I mean. You can do it from the safety of your own home on the sofa and not have to people. You're just, you're computering, not peopling.
Okay, cool.
Or phoning, you know what I mean.
Texting.
Right? And then if you're the extrovert, don't take things personally. Introverts may not respond to you as you, the extrovert, would respond. Just be prepared. And if you have to ask questions why they're reacting the way they're reacting, then ask that just kindly. Remember, we listen and we don't judge.
Uh-huh.
I'm trying.
Yeah.
There is a way you can still thrive as an introvert in BDSM dynamics, right? Be upfront with your partners about your limits. Make sure you are letting your partner know that maybe you need more negotiation time or you prefer to discuss scene ideas in writing before meeting in person. Clearly state your communication style, whether it's text, voice notes, face to face, whatever helps you the most. And that way, expectations are properly set. Make sure you're building in reflection time so that introverts have the opportunity to take a pause before responding. This could be as simple as saying something like, I'd like to think on that and I'll get back to you tomorrow. And then all I would say is make sure whatever time you have said you're going to get back to them, get back to them. Even if the next day you're getting back to them with like, hey, I just need a little bit more time to process. Because setting these expectations properly is going to foster mutual respect and prevents misunderstanding. So it could be something as simple as, hey, listen, I absolutely love playing with you, but I'm probably going to need some alone time after our scene so I can recharge. So for me, my aftercare means being alone, and it's nothing personal against you. It doesn't mean I don't like you and I don't want to hang out with you. It's just what I need to recharge after our scene. You can balance public and private play as an introvert if you choose events strategically, right? Like you don't have to attend every single party or munch. Prioritize ones that align with your kinks, might have a lower turnout, are maybe known to be newcomer or introvert friendly. Like I said, Kink, that event in the Crucible I know because they advertise it, has that self-care toolbox with the earbuds and the fidget spinners or whatever you need. That would be a really good event to attend for somebody who's an introvert.
Technically, Rara's massively big munch is very newbie friendly. We go out of our way, even non-host people go out of our way to be as welcoming as possible to newbies, which I believe is the reason why it is so big, because people keep coming back.
Yeah. That's my favorite thing. I hear the thing that I love most, like for somebody to go, oh, wow, you've got a munch. It's like 80, 85 people. That's fabulous. That the fact that my munch is large is cool, but that doesn't give me the same level of excitement as when someone says, I've heard your munch is really good for newbies. Like that brings me great joy and pleasure.
No, that's how I actually talk about it. I just say, no, it's a really great place for newbies because literally just about every single person there is dedicated to making the newbies feel as welcome as possible, which is why people keep coming back, which is why it's so big, because people keep coming back and then they keep bringing other people.
I love it. I love my munch. If you happen to be in the DMV area, and I don't mean Department of Motor Vehicles, for those who know what I mean, then you live in the area. Feel free to reach out and I'll send you the FET link to the event, and we'd love to have you. Another thing to do is make sure you are setting your own pace. You don't have to go by anybody else's expectations. If you need to plan for alone time or downtime, whether it's stepping outside for fresh air, obviously not when it's 10 degrees outside like it is right now, or finding a quiet corner to recharge, then give yourself that permission. Give yourself permission to leave early if you feel your social battery is running low. I want to take a moment and talk about something very much in particular because this is one of the biggest ways to help an introvert in our community. And that is the buddy system. That is partnering with an emotional support extrovert. And the reason that it
ambivert.
Or ambivert. The reason that it helps is obviously that person can ease introduction, can keep the conversation flowing, can help buffer any social awkwardness that an introvert might feel. And as an extrovert, it benefits us too, because we like to meet new people. And if, as Dar says, if I'm somebody who's controlling a conversation anyway, if my controlling the conversation helps you, then my controlling it isn't a negative.
Good way to think about it.
So I can do what comes naturally, but it's helpful.
Killing two birds with one stone there.
I love it. And so, right, fine, show up to munches or events as a duo or even a small group. And then the extrovert can handle the initial approach while you chime in when you're comfortable. Have your extrovert introduce you. They can do the initial, hey, meet my friend so-and-so, and do the icebreaker.
If you would like to use Rara as your emotional support extrovert for any upcoming events at the Crucible, she is usually there. Please DM her on that.
And I've done that. I've had people reach out to me where I have made plans to meet them at the event and have them stick with me for at least the first 15, 20 minutes until they feel a little bit more comfortable.
I'm pretty sure I was the emotional support extrovert for Amity and Laura's first time coming to the event when they were visiting.
Oh, yeah, because I was working that event, so I couldn't hang out till I was done working.
So, yeah.
Yep. But make sure you are agreeing on boundaries with your buddy so they know what to do, what you do and don't feel comfortable with. For instance, you may not want them to volunteer you for a scene without checking with you first. Don't forget to divide and conquer. So if you're feeling overstimulated, let your buddy know that you need a breather, and then they can keep socializing while you recharge and then you get back together. And then reciprocate in your own way. You might be the perfect person to engage in deeper conversations or help your extroverted buddy debrief after a high energy social session.
Do I do that for you?
I don't need that. So, but you would if I needed.
Necessary.
You would be willing to. I just don't need it.
Yeah, true.
I hope I have done introverts and kink in justice, being that I am so not an introvert.
You did pretty good.
And again, talk about like myths. I will say, before I officially got into the community, I thought all kinksters were extroverts. Like, how could you do what you do without being an extrovert? Because I did make the mistaken assumption of introvert equals shy.
I can, and I can perfectly understand that. That's usually used as a synonym, but it's just really not the case.
Right. So I'm giving you guys a little bit of a challenge here. I would like you to share some of your introverted kink strategies with us. Let us know when you see obviously you'll see the posts that I will have put up on social media this week about this particular subject matter. And I will post a lot about the different tips that I've talked about in here. So I'd like you to add to the conversation. And if you post anything, please hashtag it kinky introvert. So I will look for that hashtag, either tag Pink Kink or use the hashtag Pink Kink on your post so I can find them, and give us some more of your ideas, because again, I can only do so much as an extrovert and I would love as many ideas as possible. Did I get it in the time frame so I don't get the finger?
No, you got the finger 4 minutes ago, but it's okay.
I assume some of this will get cut out, so I always like to go a few minutes over just in case. Okay. Thanks for hanging out with us today. If you enjoyed what you heard, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss a minute of our fun and educational content. New episodes drop every Friday.
If you love what we do and want to help us keep creating, support us on Patreon at patreon.com/pinkkinkpodcast. You can also support our affiliates to benefit small businesses and us at the same time.
No extra cash? No problem. You can still help by spreading the word about your favorite kinky podcast. Share us with your friends, and don't forget to rate and review us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you listen. Those 5-star reviews mean the world to us. And those 5-star reviews go a long way in boosting our podcast through the algorithm and reaching more listeners.
Sign up for our Pink Kink Institute classes. Shop at our Etsy shop, Pink Kink Boutique. Stay connected with us on social media. You'll find all the links on our link tree posted in the show notes.
Your support means the world to us. So until next time, stay pink
and level up your kink knowledge.